Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22, and it is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day, and we are giving you your weekly update. I guess it wouldn't be just be a weekly update, right? So I'm trying to do one of these every day, right? It's keeping you up on news and other things like that. Trying to give you a couple reels a day, things like so, and satiate all the listeners out there. Um, so today's episode essentially is going to be on some recent updates on the alderman races for the city of Olean. So this is more political in nature, um, and hopefully we'll do some deep dives and some breakdowns into other political and local topics throughout the week. Today, I want to kind of make the announcement. I don't know if a lot of people have, but so in the previous episode on the election season starting for 2025, we discussed the mayor's race in depth. Um, and while we let all those candidates go door to door and pass their petitions, I figured we focus on the alderman races. And the alderman races have kind of been, shall I say, not really talked about. Like there might have been a news article from, I think the one of the stations um, one of the stations, one of the local newspapers discussed the alderman races. And at the time, there hadn't been so there was Ward 2, 4, 6, and 7 are up this year. So uh, as of right now, I believe we are still working 7 backwards. We're still Dave Anastasia, Democrats incumbent from Ward 7. And I don't believe the Republicans have put out anybody. Uh, Ward Ward 6 is still the independent uh, incumbent Vernon Robinson Jr. And then you have Ward 4, which is still the Democrat incumbent Sonia McCall. And I don't believe the Republicans have put up a competitor in her ward, and there hasn't been any grumblings about any non-party affiliates. A lot of times you get those nopes coming out of the woodwork and I want to run. And Ward 4 has a tendency to do that. Ward 6 typically is a highly contested ward. It has in the past, right? But not as of the last couple of years. I mean, the last race in 6, well, you had Nick Peterson. I don't know if he's coming out of the woodwork again this time for another rematch. I believe this would be his third time if he did come out. Um, and then Ward 2 had no contenders from either side up until this past weekend. And this past weekend we had a really good one come out. Now I know that I know there was a I got a so Alderman Jason Panis is no longer he'll ride out the rest of his term, and so as of December 31st of 2025 he will be the alderman, and then after that date he will no longer be that be that be the alderman for that ward, as he's just going to allow his term to retire or expire. And I got a call from him. He had somebody looking for how to, because I'm the information base, right? So people call me all the time. How do I run for alderman, right? This person didn't have a party affiliation, so they would start passing petitions after all the designated parties had passed their petitions. And typically, NOPs are a little bit more difficult because you have to get more signatures. There's a lot more people that aren't registered to a party. Um, and so a lot of times they have a greater um, encumbrance of signatures you have to attain. So, but over the weekend, I got word that Joe Keary threw his hat in the ring, and Joe's a good friend of mine, and I think he would be a great candidate for the job. I believe he is a registered Republican. When I spoke to him over the weekend, he was in the process of writing his platform and going to be circulating it with all the papers and stuff like that. So, um, but and then obviously he's gonna have to go get his petitions and start passing them just like everybody else. And it's one of those, The alderman races are, I don't want to say they're not like easy to pass petitions, but like, I mean, if you're the district attorney, for example, right, you're a countywide race, you have to actually pass, like, you have to get like, it's like 2,000 signatures. And it may be way less than that, but they always tell you, because if somebody else got the same signature or what have you, like they can just throw it out, which is kind of dumb. Well, it's not dumb, it's just it is what it is. So like, and a lot of times when you go, and I've done this for years, if you go door to door and somebody signs your petition, a lot of times they don't even think that like they can't sign more than one. They don't know the rules. And that's one of those rules that, like, are you going to go to everybody's house and like, if you start naming off all the rules, they'd be like, get the hell out of here. You're just inundating me with stupid stuff that I don't care about. And yeah, but what happens is you get to that one where it's like, have you signed anybody else's petition? And then after, like, I've had people like, hey, will you sign my petition? Sure. They sign it. And they're like, oh yeah, you're the second petition I've had to like. You already signed somebody else's. Like, man, like, it's one of those things. But you go to the mayor's race, I believe it's 160 for the Republicans that they need this year, something along those lines. And so to be safe, to make sure that nobody questions your, because if you have like 20 extra signatures on 120, they're going to pick through them. Somebody on the other side, one of the people battling against you, they are going to pick through yours to try to get you thrown off, because by the time that they're picking through them, it's already too late for you to pass. So if they knock you out by you being short 2 signatures, like, you're done. You're out of the race. And they use these like spell check grammatical type issues. It's like, you know sometimes our legal system gets stuck in the weeds a little bit. Well, we all have to play fair, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, but I mean, you guys are like throwing somebody out of the race because they had a comma next to their name. Well, legally we can, like, okay, well, but yeah, that's, I think the founding fathers intended that, like, go figure, right? Well, so we go through, and in the wards, uh I believe in, like, your average ward, you need to get like 50 signatures, and that's a safe number, right? So you usually need anywhere between like 20 and 30 signatures, and to be safe for such a small number like that, you just double it. You just kind of say, all right, I got to get like 50, 60 signatures, and I'll be good. And a lot of times you are, and 60 signatures, it seems daunting at first. It ain't hard. It isn't hard. I mean, I usually can get 100 signatures with my eyes closed, just because I know the wards now. I know all the places. I know registered voters from both sides. I've had to pass petitions. I've had aldermen that were out of town that I would go and, like, hey, man, I'm actually out of town. I'm traveling, whatever. Can you go and pass petitions on my behalf? Like, yeah, not a problem. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, like, when you start getting into the weeds of like local small town politics, it's less about national party and more about like where people sit, because you get some people that are just like, my parents were always Democrats, and then they're Democrat. But it's like, if you watch how they vote, if you hear how they talk, you see them at church, you know what I mean, you're like, man, like, is this person really a Democrat? Or, you know what I mean? And they don't follow the national party line. And then there's a lot of Republicans that do the same thing. You're like, how are you a Republican? You just shake your head at some of these people. um but yeah, and then also, obviously, COVID did a number on notaries. So I'm a notary, and so I can go door to door for other parties, because when you're passing petitions, you have to be a member of that party, or you have to be in you have to the signature has to be in the presence of a notary public, which I hold that. The problem is that post COVID, with all of the virtual signatures and notary stuff, and then they try to like rule out the fact that people could be deceitful. So they say, okay, well, you need to have a book, and the book has to be of every signature post this date. And so anytime you notarize something, it has to be cross referenceable with the notary book that you carry. So if you notarize someone's thing, a lot of times, like, you have to keep a log, like, who was it, what was their ID, do you know them personally, have you seen their ID before, do you know who they are? So it makes passing petitions, if you're a notary, a lot more cumbersome. So this gives you a little insight. I'm sure most of you are like, this is boring as shit, but those are just the different things. So I applaud Joe for stepping up. I know Ward 2 is from what I've seen in the city, like ever since I've been in politics, it's always been a Republican ward. And so I believe Joe is a registered Republican. And I think Joe would do a good job. Joe is very qualified. Um, he's always helping out the community. He's very involved in the VFW. I know the American Legion. He's gonna yell at me because it's American Legion, not the VFW, or he's gonna yell at me because I think it's now the American Legion. It's probably the VFW. Um, but and then most people know Joe's wife, Claudia Tard. She's a fan favorite. A lot of people love Claudia. Um, unless you're a lawyer. A lot of lawyers, they're on the fence. A lot of lawyers are always on the fence about realtors, right? So like realtors hate lawyers hate realtors, and then you get one lawyer that uses a realtor they love, and you get another lawyer that uses a realtor, or will refuse to use a realtor because they had one bad experience or whatever. But for the most part, my pulse on things. Claudia is always also a good friend of mine, and she's always a hoot. So it'll be good to see um it'll be good to see Joe hitting the pavement and knocking on doors and getting out there and stirring his ward up again, because when it everybody needs a good stirring sometimes. Like when your ward doesn't have any candidates coming forward at first, it's like, okay, someone's not home, so I'm to pound on some doors and wake people up, and that's kind of remind people that this is still something we have to do. So but it's good to see that Joe's running, and I'm sure we'll have more going into tomorrow. I'll try to come up with a nice little excerpt for you guys for tomorrow, and keep you posted if anything stirs up in any other wards. We and then the mayor's race seems to be pretty has seemed to cool down a little bit as people go get their signatures. Right, you have Jared out there, you have the incumbent Bill Alio, and you have Amy Sherburne. And I did hear grumblings that Amy's signatures were getting passed this weekend. I'm sure I'm sure that's not stopping Bill. I'm sure Bill's people move very quickly, and I'm sure Bill's people were out passing petitions too. Um, and given that he's the incumbent, a lot of times the hardcore door knockers, the people that are out there passing petitions, are usually passing for the incumbent over any newcomers. And then Jared out there, I didn't hear any grumblings about his folks, but most likely a guy like Jared is probably out knocking the doors himself. So, and I did get questions asked of all three candidates this weekend, people that are normally just sign my petitions. I had one, a friend of mine's wife, um, messaged me and was saying, "Hey, someone's trying to pass this petition. Who is this person? What about these other two candidates?" And obviously, she sent the petition passer away because she goes, "I only sign Kevin's petitions." And then not because my name would be on them, but any petition that I pass, they typically sign because people trust my judgment when it comes to signing petitions for people of their party. So, but that's it is what it is. I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, so the mayor's race is going well, and I'm sure we'll. I haven't decided what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I'll try to give you. I want to give you at least two of these little political updates every week, and try to get you some news, and try to do at least two of them a week. I'm trying to do at least 1 to 2 guests a month. If I can do more, I will, and I'm trying to get you as many shorts as I can put out there. Not shorts like pants, but shorts like short cut reel videos, like things you would see on YouTube or on TikTok. So for those videos out there, and those of you out there in audio land, um, just you know, you'll have to get off your audio app to look at the shorts. But that aside, and actually, a little while ago, we just confirmed our one of our guests. I don't know if it'll be our next guest, but she is a fan favorite. It is Della Moore. She'll be coming on the show next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. I can't guarantee the video will be out by then, but so anytime after that time, unless something catastrophic happens where we have to postpone or something like that, you can expect to see everyone's favorite and lovely lady, Miss Della Moore, on the show next Tuesday, the 11th, so a week from tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. So other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update, and we will catch you next time on Life 22. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep on downloading them podcasts.